This sound familiar? You spend entire days, head buried in a book, highlighting, rereading, only to find that all that information just vanishes a week later. Ugh, it's that dreaded studying, forgetting cycle, and it is incredibly frustrating. But here's the good news. It's not a memory problem. It's a strategy problem. See, your brain isn't a hard drive you just dump files onto. It's more like a muscle that gets stronger every single time you pull information out, not just when you look at it. So this brings us to the most crucial point. We need to make one fundamental shift in how we think about studying. We have to move from a mindset that's all about input to one that prioritizes output. Honestly, this is the single most important change you can possibly make, and it's backed by decades of cognitive science. Okay, let's break this down. On one side, you have all those passive input activities, things like rereading your notes, highlighting text. They feel productive, right? But they're not where the real deep learning happens. True, lasting knowledge, the kind you need for an exam, comes from active output. That means forcing your brain to retrieve and actually use the information. That, right there, is the game changer. So, to help you make this big shift, we're going to build your very own scientific study toolkit. We'll walk through 4 powerful, evidence-based techniques that you can start using right away to make your study sessions so much more effective. First up is active recall. This is the bedrock, the absolute foundation of effective learning. So instead of just reading a chapter again, close the book and try to summarize its key points completely from memory. We call that a brain dump. Or, use flashcards to quiz yourself. This act of deliberately pulling information out of your brain is a mental workout that builds super strong memory pathways. And that boosts the retrieval speed you desperately need when the clock is ticking in an exam. Next, we've got spaced repetition. Here's the thing. Our brains are literally designed to forget things. It's a feature, not a bug. Spaced repetition is how you fight back against this natural forgetting curve. You review material just as you're about to forget it. It's like a workout for your memory, moving information from that fragile, short-term storage into solid, long-term memory. And this is absolutely essential when you're dealing with a massive syllabus over several months. And this shows you exactly how it works in practice. You don't just cram every day. You review strategically. After that first review, you wait a couple of days. Then you wait a bit longer for the next one, and even longer after that. This schedule actually trains your brain to hold on to information for the long haul. It makes it stick. Now for our third tool, interleaving. This is all about mixing things up. So instead of studying all your chemistry for 3 hours and then all your physics, you alternate between them in one session. Now, it might feel tougher at first, but what you're actually doing is training your brain to be more agile. It learns to tell concepts apart and pick the right strategy on the fly. And that is a huge advantage when you're faced with totally unpredictable exam questions. And finally, there's elaboration. This is how you get to that really deep level of understanding. Don't just memorize a formula. Explain to yourself why it works. Try to connect it to other concepts you already know. Ask yourself questions about it. This whole process stops you from just learning on the surface and gives you the power to apply your knowledge to new and complex problems, the kind you've never even seen before. This quote just nails the whole idea of elaboration, doesn't it? If you can't explain a concept to someone else in simple terms, you probably don't understand it well enough yourself. This is the whole idea behind the famous Feynman technique. True mastery isn't just knowing something, it's being able to teach it. Okay. So we've got these 4 really powerful tools, but how do we combine them all into one ultimate exam-crushing strategy? Well, that's where mock tests come in. All right, pay close attention to this next part, because according to all the research, what we're about to talk about is the single most powerful and effective study strategy out there, period. And that strategy is practice testing. Now, this is not just doing a few practice questions here and there. It is about simulating the entire exam experience. When you do a timed mock test, you're forcing yourself to use active recall under serious pressure. You're naturally interleaving between all the different topics. And afterwards, you're using elaboration to analyze your mistakes. It is the ultimate synthesis of everything we've just talked about. But to get the most out of this, you have to be disciplined. You've got to replicate the real exam conditions. No phone, no distractions. Enforce those time limits, be strict about it. And here's the most important part. After you're done, you must go back and analyze every single mistake to understand why you made it. The real learning, the real magic, happens in that analysis. So you see, this isn't just some random list of disconnected tips. These strategies all work together. They build on each other to create this powerful, synergistic effect that gives you a true competitive advantage on exam day. So let's look at that edge. First, you optimize your time. Spaced repetition makes sure you're doing high-impact reviews, not just passively rereading the same thing over and over. Second, you build stamina, both mental and physical, through practice testing. It prepares you for the marathon of a long exam. And finally, you guarantee your adaptability. Interleaving and elaboration train you to apply knowledge creatively, so you're ready for whatever the exam decides to throw at you. So as we wrap this up, the question isn't whether these techniques work. The science is crystal clear that they do. The question is for you. Looking at this toolkit we've just built, which one of these powerful tools will you commit to adding to your study routine first? Moving from that passive consumption to active output starts with just one small change. What's yours going to be?